Hey y'all, I'm gonna ramble for a little bit, so we'll have a time if you want to skip my rambling and just get to the scary stories. But I do have a couple things that I want to say. First, I wanted to apologize for not uploading last week. I wanted to give myself a little bit of a break so I don't burn myself out. I have a pattern, and I've talked about this pattern before, but I will get super motivated and I'll upload a fuck ton of videos and then I'll just end up burning myself out and then I fall back into my depression. I did not want that to happen, and so I talked to my therapist and my homework for last week was to not work at all. I kind of worked a little bit because I was streaming, but I don't want to count that as working. I was really bored. Like, I was so bored not uploading, and so I was streaming on Twitch, and that's another thing I wanted to say. If you guys want to follow me on Twitch, or if you guys are interested in live streams, then I will have my Twitch link down below. I've been streaming more often. I've been doing it like a couple days a week for a couple hours. So if you're interested in hearing me ramble live, then you can follow me on there. And then the last thing that I wanted to say is I'm actually almost done with all of my therapy. I'm down to 2 days a week for my therapy. I was doing like 16 hours in 1 week before, and now I have like 3 or 4 hours every week. So I'm almost done with that. I graduate on the 15th of September, and I'm really excited. It's crazy to think about like where I was then and how in my depression I was. I don't know how else to say that. How low I felt before and where I'm at now, and I've been able to upload consistently for almost 3 months, which is crazy to me. But that's all I wanted to say. I tried to keep the rambling to a minimum, but now we're gonna get into this because I am back and I have more paranormal stories that I am very excited to read today. Or no, I have paranormal stories that I'm very scared to read today. I went onto the subreddit and I'm pretty sure it's broken again. That was another thing I wanted to talk about. I'm pretty sure this subreddit broke and I don't know how to fix that. It won't allow people to post on it. It says they don't have permission to post, and so I don't know how to fix that. So please help me. Please help me. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. But if you know how to fix that, I'm all ears, because I don't know. But anyways, I took some paranormal stories that I was able to find on the subreddit before it broke, and we're gonna read them today. So this first story says, "We played the Ouija board and now they won't leave me alone." They said, "I apologize in advance for how unbelievably long the story is, but it's important that you know my family's past to understand the story. My entire family are huge believers in the paranormal. I, however, am a big skeptic and refuse to actually believe anything until something unexplainable happens to me. I do love learning about the paranormal and watching horror movies or reading anything scary. I don't know why, it just interests me. My cousins like to watch horror movies with my grandma all the time. That's important information. I lived in a trailer with my family in the middle of nowhere. I was about 8 when I started to have bad nightmares or repetitive dreams that would freak me out. After I had these dreams, I would wake up in a cold sweat or crying. I would get up to go to the bathroom or get a drink or something, but I just always had the urge to get up. Every time I walked out of my room, I would glance out the hallway window. Every time I would see a silhouette of a man standing and staring at me, and then he would disappear. I would blame it on me being tired and then move on with my life, but this happened every morning. My parents gave me an alarm clock one day. This was before it was common for kids to have cell phones. So every morning I would wake up, look at the clock, and continue to get a glass of water. I soon realized I would wake up at 5:27 every morning exactly. The dreams turned into sleep paralysis over the years, and I got used to having sleep paralysis at least once a month. I stopped seeing the shadow figure outside my window after a couple of years, and I never really thought anything of it. One day my mom was telling me stories about my cousin when she was little. I'll call her Kayla for this. Kayla would refuse to walk into her dad's kitchen, claiming the little girl that hid in the cabinets was going to get her. This freaked my aunt out, and they ended up moving. My aunt hates the paranormal, and when her daughter decided to stop eating and would have a panic attack at the age of 4 when they tried to get her in the kitchen to eat, they decided it wasn't Kayla being scared from the horror movies they watched with my grandma. After moving, Kayla went back to her normal appetite and never mentioned the girl in the cabinets again. After my mom finished the story, it reminded me of my imaginary friends when I was younger. I had forgotten about them, but I felt my heart drop when I realized what had happened. I had 2 imaginary friends, a man and a woman. I don't remember which one had what, but one was missing its nose and its eyes, and the other was missing its hand and one of their ears. I internally started freaking out as my memories flooded back. Nothing much happened with me other than them playing games with me, like passing a bouncy ball back and forth between the 3 of us. I remember them telling me I wasn't allowed to tell anyone about them, especially my mom. I told my mom about this, and she just brushed it off as me being a creative kid that likes to watch horror movies with my cousin and my grandma. I just believed her, knowing I also had very vivid dreams, so it was probably that, right? Years passed, and we ended up buying a house and moving in. After we bought the house, my siblings and I went to go see it one day before we started moving in. We didn't get to see it before we bought it because of school, so we walked up the road from our current house to go choose our rooms. When we walked in, I got an unsettling feeling, but just chalked it up to being an empty and older house. We each ran into a room, and I found a blue one that I liked. However, there was a purple room, and I was living with 2 brothers at the time, so I was forced to take the girly room. As soon as I walked into the room, the unsettling feeling I had got worse. Despite my being completely alone in the room, I felt eyes on me and knew I wasn't alone. I don't know how to explain it other than this heavy feeling in my chest. I just knew I wasn't alone. A while later, we were completely moved in and strange things started to happen. My door would shut. I would say it was the wind or a fan. I would hear bangs in the basement. I blamed it on the dogs or cat playing and knocking something over. There were random knocks and scratches in the walls. I can hear things in the basement along with the attic. I know there's nothing in the attic because the old owners took the ladder for some reason and we have no way to get up there. What I thought was strange was that the hole in the ceiling in the attic entrance locks from the outside. There is no way to get out if you got locked in that room. That's so fucking creepy. About a year after we moved in, my cousin, I'll call her Hope, texted me wanting to know if I would play the Ouija board with her. I agreed and told her I would ask my mom if I could go over to my grandma's house with her. My grandma was the only one to own a Ouija board. It used to be my aunt's, Kayla's mom, but she truly hated that stuff after messing with it a few times, so she made my grandma take it. We were told the only way to get rid of the board was to give it away or sell it. She couldn't get rid of it any other way. My mom was extremely against it. She had told me ever since I found the board in my grandma's game closet to never touch it. I'm with your mom. You should not have touched that shit. Knowing she would never be able to stop me from finding a way to play it, she drove me and Hope over and I set up the board outside my grandma's house because grandma didn't want us to play it inside. Something that I should mention was there was at least 1 death in my grandma's house. Hope did believe in all of the paranormal, but I still thought it was bullshit. We didn't get much outside, so we snuck inside and into the guest bedroom. We stacked pillows to make a place to put the board on and started playing again. Nothing happened, so we got candles and turned out the lights. After a while, the planchette started moving, but I was sure it was Hope moving it, but I decided to just go along with it. We ended multiple games throughout the night because both of us got weird feelings, but nothing really happened. Hope said she felt someone's breath on her ear, but I said she was just being paranoid. After a while, I felt something tug on my hair. I didn't want to freak her out, so I didn't say anything and just moved, so my back was up against the wall. A few minutes later, we heard a noise, so we looked above us and the blades on the ceiling fan were spinning. There was something wrong with the wiring, and the fan didn't work, but the light did, so there was no way the fan was moving unless somebody was pushing it. There were also no windows, so it couldn't be the wind, and neither of us could reach it unless we stood up on the bed, so I know that Hope didn't do it. We both just looked at each other and asked if it was the spirit we were talking to. It said no. We pretty much had a similar situation to T. We felt safe and the spirit was nice. We heard the hangers in the open closet moving, so both of our eyes shot over to it. I asked her if she saw what I saw, and she said yes. There was a dark figure in the corner of the closet standing beside the hangers. That fucking mental image that I get from that, I can't. We continued with the board, but soon the candles blew out, causing me to jump up and flip the switch on. I stared at her in disbelief. We relit the candle to see if one of us could have blown it out from where we were sitting because we were far from the candle. We couldn't blow it out even when we were intentionally trying to, so there was no way that we accidentally did. We put the board away, having enough for one night, and walked out to the living room where my grandma was watching TV. Later, my mom came and picked me up, and I went home perfectly fine that night. I decided to shower before falling asleep. In the middle of rinsing out my hair, I felt a hand on my lower back. I froze in my position and waited for it to go away before turning around. I quickly got out and got dressed. It's been about a year and I still frequently feel hand touching me at random times. No! Over time, my experiences got worse. My door would be shut and locked, but somehow it would swing open so hard it dented the door stopper. It will also slam along with my closet door. I wake up suddenly in the middle of the night and hear people walking around, but I go out there and there is nobody there. I wake up and see a man standing at the end of my bed, just watching me. I lay on my side and I can feel the bed dip in behind me, even when my dog is laying in front of me by my stomach, sound asleep. My dog will often refuse to let me go into my room or won't go in herself. She never leaves me alone and will even come and lay on the bathroom floor when I'm in the shower. There are times where I have to sleep on the couch because my dog won't let me in my room. She will sit in front of my door and growl and jump on me when I try to go in. I could easily get past her if I really wanted to, but I'm afraid of what will happen. She does the same thing to my closet too. She barks and growls at random corners or down the basement stairs. I wake up to my bed shaking. I wake up with cuts and bruises. I've seen things in the corners of my room. One night I had sleep paralysis and I saw my imaginary friends from when I was younger. They were on top of me, whispering in my ear, "I told you not to tell her," referring to my mom. I always feel eyes on me. Even when I'm home alone, I never feel alone. I feel like something's attached to me and it won't let go. This is terrifying and I can't wait until I move out. I have more stories if you'd like to hear them. You have more? There's more that's happened to you? And then there's an edit. I guess it's noteworthy to mention that since the beginning of quarantine, it's gotten worse with me seeing and hearing things in the middle of the night. I get bruises more often and feel the hand on my back a lot. I don't like that. I don't like the hand on the back. That's it for me. That's where I draw the line. What scares me the most is that I can feel every long, bony finger caressing my back. I'm constantly hoping we'll get out of this quarantine ASAP, so I can escape to a friend's house or something, but my state and county are one of the lucky few that are still not allowed to leave their houses. I refuse to tell my mom about what's happening to me because I know she won't believe me, despite her being a huge believer that the board is evil, or she'll brush it off because nothing's happened to her. I'll be moving out as soon as I can. I already have an apartment picked out, so I'm hoping that the thing won't follow me there. I'm also only 15 and terrified of what my life will be like if this continues. You are only 15, bitch. You got a couple more years before you're moving out. Please send me the rest of your stories. I didn't realize how long that one was. I saved that one a while ago. I didn't realize that took me a very long time to read. Please tell me the rest of your stories. I'm very interested, but I don't want to hear any more about the bony fingers on your back. I'm done with that one. I'm done with that. This next story says, "The thing in my grandma's old basement." Okay, I know the whole basement thing is cliche, but this really happened. My name's Olivia. Around 4 years ago, my grandma still lived in her old house. It was a normal 2-story house with a lake at the end of the driveway. Me and my cousin were like 9 or 10, and we decided we wanted to go play in the basement. We went down there and looked around for the toys that she kept down there. We couldn't find them, so we went to look in the other rooms down there. We found a pair of crutches, so we moved those since it was blocking the door. We put them against a wall and went into the room. We found the toys in the corner, and when we walked over there, I heard somebody, or should I say something, say, "the door." I looked at her with an expression of shock. She looked at me the same way. Before we could say anything, the door behind us slammed shut. We both ran to the door trying to get it open. We decided since we both heard something say "the door," we would ask it what shut the door. She asked because I was too much of a wimp to do it. She said, "Was that you who shut the door?" It took a few minutes to hear something again, but we heard it say "no," and then the door swung open and we bolted out. The crutches weren't on the wall, they were gone, like nowhere to be found. We don't talk about this story much anymore, but I decided to share it on this app. That's a really short one, but I thought it was fucking creepy. Okay, and this next one says, "Freaking Gerald, the Demon Man." Freaking Gerald, like fucking Gerald, like fucking Gerald, freaking Gerald. Hi Courtney, my name is Quinn and I'm 16. I have a few real paranormal stories. I decided to put them all in this post, so it's gonna be really long and I'm sorry. I also asked around and got stories from my family, so these aren't all mine. So first of all, the house I live in is pretty old and pretty haunted. There are 4 spirits that we know of, and we think 3 of them are friendly. One is a ghost cat, which we've named February. We know February exists because when we were moving around furniture in the bedrooms of our house, we would feel bursts of cold air around shin height, like something rubbing against your leg. Another thing that happened with the cat was when my aunt was over, she saw a curtain moving like it was being pulled down. I have a dog, and I don't think my dog likes the ghost cat. There will also be imprints at the end of beds, but we're not sure if that's the cat or something else. The second spirit in the house is a ghost named Timmy. My dad plays guitar, and once he played a White Stripes song, and a different song started playing out of his guitar amp. Another time, when I was home with my mom and my siblings, we could hear someone walking up the stairs. The steps creak a lot, and I knew it wasn't my dad. When my brother was a baby, the baby mobile above his crib would spin on its own, which was terrifying. Another time, Timmy threw a guitar off a closet shelf because he didn't like the music my dad was playing. The third friendly ghost is a little boy. One time when I was walking up the stairs, I saw a shadow at the end of the hallway and I thought it was my brother. I called his name and he answered from the living room downstairs. That's also another mental image that I don't know. We don't like that. My brother also had these wind-up cars that would race around, and one time during the middle of the night, they were racing around his room. The fourth spirit really spooks me. I'm pretty sure it spends most of its time in my closet, and I started calling him Gerald. Gerald will throw stuff off the hangers in my closet and bang on the walls. One time my friend Finn was over. We've been friends since we were 4 because we're next door neighbors, and now we're actually dating. We were sitting on my bed doing an Instagram live stream and looking at memes. My closet door started opening and I went still. Finn did too, so I asked if he was seeing this. He nodded and then a suitcase fell off the shelf. At this point I was sick of Gerald scaring me, so I yelled, "Fuck off, Gerald!" And then there was a super loud bang from inside the closet. Gerald obviously didn't like me getting mad. Long story short, I spent the night at Finn's house. This is a different story about the time my family went to the Queen Mary ship. I want to go there so bad. My grandma took my mom, my aunt, one of my sisters, and me. We were walking around the deck and got to the propeller area, and I saw two guys dressed like captains of the boat. I pointed them out to my sister, and she said they were probably just in costume for the tour. We turned away from them, and when I looked back, they were gone. I wanted to know what had happened to them, so I asked the tour guide where they went. The tour guide got really pale and ignored my question. I also saw an old lady knitting by the pool. These are my aunt's stories. My aunt worked in a hospital for a while as a receptionist. There was the ghost of a little girl named Sarah. Sarah would unplug all of the cardio machines during the night. One time, a stack of papers flew off of my aunt's desk. Sarah also had handprints that would show up in x-rays. That's so weird. That's so fucking weird. They had a group of paranormal investigators come and confirm that Sarah was there. There was one nurse that Sarah did not like. This nurse was filling out paperwork once and a stapler was thrown at her. That nurse quit and moved to a new hospital and Sarah stopped being active. Can you imagine a little ghost girl throwing a fucking stapler at you? Oh my god. My aunt has moved a few times, but 2 of the houses she lived in were haunted. They were in the same neighborhood, and I think my grandma said there used to be train tracks through that neighborhood, and a passenger train once fell off the tracks and killed people, so that would explain why it's haunted. The first house she lived in that neighborhood seemed normal at first, but one afternoon my aunt saw an apparition walk through her window and said my aunt's name. It did that for a week, and finally my aunt decided to pray with this ghost and it went away. The second house she lived in was when my aunt had kids. The house was haunted by what was probably a demon. My aunt would see glowing red eyes, and she said the vibe just felt really hostile. Her kids were also scared to go into the basement, and people did not like to visit the house. Those were my stories. I'm sorry this is really long. I love your videos. Thank you for keeping me entertained during the quarantine. No problem. And they actually said, edit. It's been about a week and I'm remembering more stories. If you want, I can make another post. I can also make a post all about Gerald because there are lots of stories about him. Please do. If you can, because now the fucking thing is broken, so I don't even know if you can anymore. But yes, if you're able to post, I would love to hear your stories. That is gonna be it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you have more stories, I don't even know what to say anymore because I don't know if you can post them on the subreddit. We'll just go back to the email for now until I can figure out why these subreddits aren't working. Because, like, there are a million subreddits and no one has issues. Like, what the fuck? So I'll have the email written down below if you guys want to send stories to the email. You can send me Let's Not Meet, Paranormal, anything like that. Whatever spooky stories you can think of, please send them to me. But other than that, I'm gonna go. I love y'all. I will see you in the next one. Bye. I am sweating. I am literally sweating. I don't know why I wore a long sleeve tight ass shirt when it's like 115 degrees outside and apparently my air's not on, but I'm fucking sweating my ass off. But I really liked this shirt and I'm really pale right now so I don't want to like show you how pasty my arms are, except I just showed you. Okay, whatever, I'm gonna see you.